Hey there, this is Sherri Clarke. I'm a registered dietitian. Thanks for joining me for today's video where we're going to talk about how you can stop self-sabotaging your own weight loss efforts. I recently did another video where I talked about ways that people self-sabotage, and I helped you identify why you self-sabotage. The next step is, how do I stop the self-sabotage? So now we're going to go through, I'll tell you some reasons why people self-sabotage, and then what to do about it. And if you are interested, go back and check out my other video, which I'll put the link below, but it talks about 4 reasons why we may self-sabotage. All right, so one reason is you're using food as a coping mechanism. So I'm using food to cope as like stress eating, anxiety, boredom, grief is a common reason. I'm using it as a coping mechanism. So I'm going to self-sabotage if I take away that food. You're taking away my coping mechanism. Well, now I don't know what to do. So that's going to make me pretty nervous, and I may not consciously think about that. In fact, I probably don't. But what I will see is I just self-sabotage and do active or passive things that will prevent me from losing weight, because I don't want to give up those foods, because if I give up those foods, I don't know how to cope. So the solution for that, I've got to learn healthy coping mechanisms. One key term you may want to research is emotional intelligence, and how do I increase my emotional intelligence? If you are full of negative self-talk and self-defeating behaviors and the thoughts that you can't ever lose the weight, or maybe I can lose it, but there's no way I'm going to keep it off, then you need to work on self-esteem, self-confidence, maybe even your worthiness, that you are worthy of living a life that you want. Start there. If you are scared of the cost of relationships, this is one a lot of people don't talk about, but the dynamic for your relationships, if you lose a significant amount of weight, the dynamic of these relationships can shift a lot. So let's say I'm married to a man and we're both overweight, and now I want to lose weight, but he doesn't want to. You can see the conflict that that's going to cause. And you can see maybe he thinks I'm trying to lose weight to have an affair or to cheat, or maybe I've got a boyfriend who's, I want to lose weight for, or am I going to put pressure on him to lose weight now? Or what is he going to do whenever I want to cook healthy meals and he doesn't want to eat the healthy meals? And I mean, that can be a huge dynamic. So I could be fearful of that. So I'm going to self-sabotage so I don't have to deal with that. Well, what you've got to do then is get the communication skills in place to have the hard conversations with the people that are in your life, that, you've got to know that they will support you, that if they love you, they should figure out a way to support you. But it comes with some communication, and you may need some help with that, but it is navigating those relationships. And you may find some relationships need to go. You may find some relationships you need to put distance there. There's some relationships you can't change. You can't change who your parents are, for example. So it may just be a matter of trying to communicate and doing the best you can with them. But if I can tell you now, if you are too terrified over the cost of what this losing weight is going to mean to these relationships, you will self-sabotage. Another reason, if food is your only source of happiness, sometimes I hear that. It makes me so happy. Sometimes I hear it's the only thing that makes me happy. You can see what's wrong with that, right? You have got to find other sources of happiness. Food cannot be your only source of happiness. If you're trying to lose weight and this is the only thing that makes me happy, and let's face it, carrots and broccoli don't make anybody happy. We're not talking about healthy foods. Then I'm going to self-sabotage because I don't want to give away my happiness. If you are self-sabotaging because it's a control thing, nobody's going to be the boss of me. Nobody's going to tell me I have to lose weight. Nobody's going to tell me I can't eat mac and cheese. Then that's another issue. I'm going to self-sabotage because if I give in and I lose the weight, then they win. And I'm not about to do that. I'm not about to give them the satisfaction. Okay, there's all sorts of things here messed up with that, right? Again, relationships, communication. You've got to talk to those people. You've got to see that you're doing something for yourself It's not a control thing. It's not a rebellious thing. You got some work to do here. All right, what else? If you're bored all the time and you're obsessing over food and the food gives you something to do, maybe even cooking or baking, watching cooking shows, you're obsessing over food and all things food related, then you got to find some constructive, healthy things to fill up your calendar. Food can't be what you turn to every time you're bored, if you're bored a lot. What else? If your weight is tied to your identity, you are at risk to self-sabotage. If I see myself as the fat, funny girl, and then I start to lose weight, wait a minute, am I still funny? The client I had who saw himself as the big teddy bear. Wait a minute, if I lose weight, then I can't be the big teddy bear. Who am I? So sometimes our weight is tied to our identity. And if we lose weight, we lose that identity. If that is the fear, again, this is not a conscious thought, but these are the people that self-sabotage. And then they just tell themselves, I couldn't do it. I'm so lazy. Like, what's wrong with me? But it actually goes much, much deeper. It's much more involved than just being lazy and needing more willpower. That's what this video is, hopefully, to get you thinking about and getting you to come up with your plan. The last one I'll talk about is if you're self-sabotaging because you've put your needs on the back burner. So these people who, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to start exercising, I'm going to start, learning how to cook healthy, I'm going to start doing all these other things. But when my kid goes away to college, but when my parents, pass away, but when my parents get in a nursing home, but when my husband gets over from his surgery and his illness, my needs are always on the back burner, and I don't have time to do any of those things until everybody else, I'm the caretaker, everybody else has got to be taken care of. So now, if I put the focus on me, I start a weight loss program, now I start feeling selfish. Oh gosh. And I start feeling like I can't go to the gym. I need to help my son with his homework. And I start all this conflict that makes me feel really uncomfortable. So I just go ahead and self-sabotage so that I can take care of everybody else. Meanwhile, I'm miserable myself. So what do you think the treatment is for that? Well, you've got to learn the balance between taking care of others, being a mom, being a wife, being a good daughter, and taking care of myself. And that's not always an easy thing. So these are some of the things that you've got to work on. I'm going to encourage you to identify what your problem is. And if you need help with that, refer to the video I spoke about before. Once you know kind of why you self-sabotage, then I've given you some ways that you can stop the self-sabotage, how to stop it, but it's not so easy, is it? You need some resources. So what I want to do for you, I'm a huge YouTuber. I watched YouTube videos for everything on how to curl your hair to how to change your oil for years before I started my own YouTube channel. So what I'm going to do is in the description below, I'm going to link some of my favorite YouTubers that can help you with different things like stress, anxiety, emotional intelligence, increasing that, communication skills. So you certainly can look at some of these YouTube videos. Other things you could do, you can read books. And I may even have a few books I'll drop in there, a few authors that are especially helpful, that I have found especially helpful in my practice. I'll drop some of those below as well. So there's reading books or listening to books. There are watching YouTube videos. There are certainly taking online courses. I have two myself on SherriClarkeNutrition.com. There are also going to be meeting one-on-one with a mental health counselor. And I really encourage you to do that if you are finding that some of your eating behaviors are tied to trauma, childhood trauma. So if that was really my situation was, if you don't know my story, when I was only 13 years old, my father passed away from a heart attack. He was 48. So literally I was 13 years old, the phone rang, and my seemingly healthy father had passed away. And I used food as a coping mechanism. I didn't know how to grieve. I was in shock. I was devastated, all of those things. And unfortunately, I didn't have a mother or any other adult figures in my life that could hold my hand and walk me through that process. So I kind of, as a 13-year-old, had to figure it out myself. And I did a really bad job of it because I didn't really. What I did was turn to comfort food and started eating, and some really unhealthy eating behaviors. If that is something like what you do, I would suggest that you get with a mental health counselor. Now, if you're in North Carolina, the state that I am, I actually have those on staff, but they're only licensed in the state of North Carolina. So you can drop me an email, Sherri@SherriClarkeNutrition.com, if you happen to live in North Carolina and you're interested in meeting with one of our counselors one-on-one in like a Zoom type video telehealth session. Otherwise, just get out there and find you a good trauma-informed therapist that can help you get through and work through your situation. I usually have a lot of comments and questions when I do a video like this, so please put those in the comments below. I'm happy to answer anything for you. If you like this video, check out my other videos. I am a registered dietitian, but I'm one of these dietitians that cares a lot more about why you eat versus what you eat. I don't think that weight loss is as simple for a lot of people as saying, here, eat this, don't eat this. You have to look at the why. Thanks for watching this video, and hope to see you again real soon. Take care. Stay healthy.